Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Minori De Silva. I am the president of the Netherlands American Chamber of Commerce for the Southeastern United States. Thanks very much for joining us at this New Year's reception virtually held today because of COVID. And thank you for taking the time to join us. We're very excited. We are going to be hearing from the Deputy Consul General for the Dutch Consulate here in Atlanta. We will be speaking to him and also to another member from another part of the Southeastern United States. Just a few words first about the Netherlands American Chamber. We are a not-for-profit and our chapter is based here in Atlanta, but we represent the Southeastern United States, including Florida and the Carolinas. And we cover an area in the United States that's growing very much. And our job is to basically try and facilitate US-Dutch trade between the Southeastern United States and the Netherlands. And we have about 60 to 80 members at any time. And we have various events throughout the years. Unfortunately, because of COVID, most of these are virtual right now, but we are looking forward to organizing some in-person events again in the future. Our executive director, Anna-Marie, is on this call. And so is Art Krebas, who has also joined. He is our vice president. And we would welcome any questions you have about membership or coming to our events. Please do reach out to us if you'd like to know more about our chamber. So without further ado, I'm just going to introduce our main speaker, Laurens van Doeveren. He is the new Deputy Consul General for the consulate here in Atlanta, representing the Southern United States. He joined the Ministry for Foreign Affairs in 2016, and he came to Atlanta as the new Deputy Consul General in September of last year. He has a long-standing history in politics and governmental affairs. He was the International Migration Coordinator at the Ministry of Justice and Security. He also was a senior policy advisor in the Dutch Parliament, and he has extensive work with the European Parliament. He studied in London as well as in the Netherlands, and he was a member of a major political Dutch party. So he has a great deal of experience with policy and politics. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Laurens to take the floor. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Minori, for the introduction. It's great to see such a large turnout for our Atlanta session from various companies, from various stakeholders. I recognize quite a few people, but also see quite a few new people here in the room, and Happy New Year to everybody. In my introduction, I'd like to do three things. I'd like to introduce our new team, because we have quite a new office and a new team here in Atlanta. I'd like to explain our priorities and areas that we cover, where we really think that we can make a difference. And lastly, to set out our priorities for 2022. And then I'm hoping for a frank and open discussion with all of you on how to further engage and work together on those priorities. As you can see on our first slide, who are we? We are a new office here in Atlanta, based in Midtown. We've opened an office to increase our footprint as the Netherlands here in the Southeast, because we see a lot of potential for economic cooperation between Dutch and American companies to explain our policy, our views, and where we can learn from the American side and where we have something to bring from the Dutch side. At the Consulate General, which is led by our Consul General Art van der Vorst, we have 5 people working to increase, facilitate investment into the United States Southeast and increase our footprint here in the Southeast. And we have 5 people working at the Netherlands Foreign Investment Agency, led by Boudewijn Bart, who help American companies to do business in Europe and specifically the Netherlands if they're looking to invest overseas, start a new office somewhere, or just acquire expertise and knowledge from the expertise. That's where they can help. Next slide, please. At our office, we not just cover Atlanta, but we cover the whole of the Southeast, which is Alabama, North and South Carolina, Georgia, and Tennessee. As a US diplomatic network, as the ambassador already explained, we facilitate in the whole of the United States 900,000 jobs, which are supported by investment from the Netherlands. And we have the ambition to increase that to 1 million. Now, as you can see, there's already quite a substantial of those jobs in the Southeast. 80,000 American jobs are supported by Dutch investment, but we also see definitely room for improvement to increase that further. The area covers around 30 million people, and almost 500,000 people are of Dutch descent. So family ties, political ties, and cultural ties are also still there. And the export to the Netherlands from the US Southeast is almost 4 billion a year. And obviously there's also a lot of export the other way around. Now, I always explain to our businesses, the Southeast is lesser known than perhaps San Francisco or New York, but definitely worthwhile to look into. All of our states are in the top states to do business in pretty much every ranking list. The cost of business are generally lower than in some other parts of the United States, and there is a pro business climate, which helps to facilitate new investment into the region as well. Next slide, please. Now, the areas that we cover, where we think that we can make a difference, where we can learn something from the America side, or where our companies, our policy solutions have something to offer, are primarily in the AgTech, Fintech, and life sciences sector. Those are our top sectors, which we prioritize in our activities. But apart from those three, and I will elaborate a bit more on that further in my presentation, we're also focused on urban functions, automotive, logistics, water, cybersecurity. And as an overall topic, we're also focused on female entrepreneurship and inclusion, making sure that female entrepreneurship is encouraged and that inclusion is pretty much part of our work and everything we do. Water is a natural area for us to cover. Half of the Netherlands is below sea level. We've been fighting the waters for hundreds of years. It's very much a national security issue as well for us. We have expertise on river maze management, on how to incorporate water solutions into the environment, or coastal protection, simply said. We have various companies active on that field, and there we really see that we can work with some cities on some coastlines further to help bring water solutions to the United States Southeast where possible. Logistics is also very much a sector that we cover. The Netherlands is a logistical hub. Schiphol is one of the leading airports in Europe, and the largest European harbor is the port of Rotterdam. We have various logistical companies already active here in specifically also the Georgia area, and there we also see room for further engagement. The same goes for automotive, circular economy, sustainability is very much at the heart that we do here at the office. The Netherlands is quite far advanced with electric vehicles, electric charging, and this is a new development that will also help to facilitate here in the US Southeast, which is moving into that, which is also moving further in the automotive sector, which is a large sector here to cover. Next slide, please. AgTech, to name our top sectors, the 5 states that we cover here in the Southeast are all traditional agricultural states. Agriculture is still one of the economic drivers in the economy. The US overall is the biggest exporter of agricultural products. The Netherlands is second. We're only 300 times smaller, and our climate is definitely worse than most parts of the US, specifically the Southeast as well. And the only reason we can export so much and produce so much with a limited piece of land is because of innovation and new technology. Dutch exports are almost 100 billion a year at the moment. There's a lot of trade between the Netherlands and the US, and there are definitely areas where we think we can bring new technology, innovation into the US. Next slide, please. Few of those areas are the greenhouse technology. With greenhouses, you can produce a lot more with less waste and less use of resources. There are definitely some areas where we see an interest in the Southeast to advance on this field and ensure that we can increase the production here of locally produced food. That's definitely a trend that we'll see more and more in the future. Urban function, we've seen in the pandemic, the shortage of supplies, the shortages of food in supermarkets all around the US. There's a lot of waste of food. We definitely see that with new solutions, we can ensure that supply chains are further strengthened. And lastly, the poultry sector. We're leaning on animal welfare, on economic efficiency and sustainability in the poultry sector. Georgia is very much the poultry capital of the United States, especially the Gainesville area. We have a large trade delegation coming up for the IPPE, which is a major international conference here on poultry here in Atlanta in a few weeks. And there we also hope to forge new ties between the Netherlands and the US. And their overall purpose is to strengthen the Dutch position in the Southeast as an innovative and collaborative partner in the field of sustainable agriculture and horticulture. Next slide, please. Life sciences and health during the pandemic is a crucial sector. There are various companies over here already active, such as Philips, already active in the life sciences and health industry here in the United States. The Georgia session of the new legislator is going to open this week. One of the priorities over there is strengthening healthcare access in rural communities. Very important topic here in the United States, since all the states are broad, diverse, and large as well. There we're hoping with innovative solutions on public health and the whole transformation to speak to your doctor via Zoom or digital measures or telemedicine. We hope to see new solutions on healthcare access. We're also in close contact with the CDC to see in the case of an emergency if we can work together on facilitating equipment exchanges between companies to ensure that we can work together on new pandemics or new outbreaks that hinder us all. We've recently completed a market study also on life sciences and health, on public health and health security. We've identified the gaps where there's a need for further cooperation between the Netherlands and the US Southeast. And we're very much hoping next year or this year to move that further. Next slide, please. And lastly, Fintech. Atlanta is a Fintech hub. I'm very happy that the new mayor also said that Fintech will remain one of the priorities for the Atlanta region. I mean, 70% of all financial transactions in the United States go through the Atlanta region. In Amsterdam, my home country, we also have a large Fintech hub. And here at our office, we're very much within our network, the Fintech office. We have the Orange Exchange platform, which is a platform where we bring together Fintech entrepreneurs from the Netherlands into the US Southeast. We help them with finding funding for their activities, with meeting the right people to forge new relationships, and to also help them with their pitch on how to explain their new innovation in the financial sector. We're very much hoping to accelerate this further. We have mentors, we have coaches, we have companies. We're hoping to broaden the Orange Exchange platform, as Fintech is definitely one of our priorities where we see that we can really work further together. Also next year, we're hoping to facilitate the East Coast Fintech mission to have a targeted approach on bringing the right people together. Next slide, please. So to sum up for 2022, we hope to see some trade missions, especially on agriculture, on sustainability, on greenhouses, on poultry, and also an East Coast mission on Fintech further. We hope to facilitate some delegations, some new activities on water management to really get to know from the US side where the needs are on water management and what solutions we can bring to the table to facilitate further exchanges and new partnerships on water. We have various studies on life sciences and health and automotive, where we'd like to explore further on how we can work together and forge new ties and new investment into the Southeast. And together, obviously, with our American Chamber of Commerce, with the Netherlands American Chamber of Commerce for the Southeast and with other stakeholders, we're very much looking forward to other activities on how we can work further together. I'm very much looking forward to the discussion. Your ideas and thoughts are very much welcome as we work closely together with companies both on the American and the Dutch side. I'm glad to see so much positivity for this new year, for new investment, for growth, and for new opportunities. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to our discussion. Thank you, Manori.
Thank you, Laurens. That was really interesting, and I appreciate you showing very clearly the different areas that you're going to be focusing on in the coming time. I might come back to you with a couple of questions, but I want to give the floor now first to Edward Klauters, who is based in Columbia, South Carolina. He is one of our members of the Chamber, and he is a fellow attorney. He's at a different firm, Nelson Mullins. And so I just wanted to let Edward talk a little bit about what's happening in his region. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Manori. Happy New Year to everyone. Appreciate the opportunity to talk a little bit about Southeastern US and how things are going here. By way of background, I've been practicing law for a long time in the Southeast, in South Carolina in particular, and focus on economic development and real estate. So economic development being companies that end up investing in the Southeast or expanding in the Southeast and helping them with possible incentives and all the other legal aspects that are associated with those types of activities. We have offices all over the Southeast, including in Tennessee, North Carolina, of course, South Carolina and Georgia, and a number of them in Florida as well. So we have a pretty good feel for what's going on as far as foreign investment activity and Dutch activity in the area. The foreign investment in the Southeast has been very active in the last 20 years, and that's continuing on despite the little pause we had when COVID hit the economy. And when we talk about foreign investment, a lot of that investment takes the shape of active investment in terms of setting up facilities where operations are being performed instead of just acquiring a passive investment in, for example, real estate, an office building, or a apartment complex. The Dutch, of course, have traditionally done both and have particularly been very strongly represented in the area of passive investment, acquiring real estate in the US that's being leased out and being an investor in those types of enterprises. However, what we've seen the last 10 years or so is definitely an increase in the more active investments, as I call them, where companies are setting up operations, whether that's a manufacturing operation or service-related enterprise, and particularly in the Southeast now. About 25 years ago, there wasn't a whole lot of Dutch activity in this area, but that has really changed. About 7% of private employment in the Carolinas, which is North Carolina and South Carolina, is through foreign-owned companies. So that's a substantial number. And traditionally, the per capita foreign investment in this area has been very high. It's been the highest in the United States. The Dutch companies that we've seen investing here are in the sectors of automotive supply, as well as agriculture. And there's also been a good bit of activity in service industries. Laurens already alluded a little bit to the Dutch expertise in water management. That's something that is going to continue and is going to be very critical. Cities such as Savannah in Georgia and Charleston in South Carolina are now faced with water intrusion and water in the streets after a heavy storm, whereas in the past that would not be the case. That would drain very quickly. But now, because of rising sea levels and groundwater levels, that's become a real issue in terms of accessibility and infrastructure stress. So the Dutch can definitely help out there with their expertise and trying to design those cities and change those cities so they're better able to handle those types of flood events that occur frequently now, particularly in the summer. The employment currently in the Southeast is very strong. There's very low unemployment. most employers are really looking to hire employees and have trouble finding them and sometimes retaining employees. And that's not just for the Southeast, that's in the US in general. For example, South Carolina has currently close to 100,000 online job openings in the private sector, which is a substantial number, and I suspect that Georgia and Tennessee are in the same position. The states are receiving substantial amounts of money from the federal government, COVID relief funds or ARPA funds, and those funds will be used as determined by state legislators, such as in Georgia and in South Carolina and North Carolina, for a variety of things. In South Carolina, the focus, just like in Georgia, will be on improving the infrastructure in the state. That would be traditional infrastructure, such as roads and highways and bridges, but also the high-tech infrastructure, such as increasing access to broadband, which is critical for healthcare delivery, healthcare services delivery in rural areas, as well as education, so that students can keep up to speed when a COVID crisis hits. They can learn online. I think that's pretty much a trend, I think, all over the Southeast, where we have a lot of rural areas and a lot of agricultural areas. The current hurdles that I see are a lack of available buildings for manufacturing. There is a delay typically in getting product to a site if you wanted to build. So if you say, well, I can't find the right building, I'm going to just build and do a greenfield site. Or I find a really old building that I really don't want, I'm going to have to substantially renovate it. There's a substantial time now and cost involved in getting that done. So those are some impediments to further growth, which we expect, of course, will change over time and it will become better. The port in Savannah, which is on the border of South Carolina and Georgia, as well as the port of Charleston in South Carolina, are major economic drivers. There are a lot of logistics companies that are locating in those areas, building large distribution facilities. That's happening in Georgia, around Savannah, South Carolina, on the South Carolina side of the Savannah port, as well as around Charleston. I will be participating in some of the trips overseas that Department of Commerce in the different states are organizing. This is something that's been done for many years. Most of the states in the Southeast have missions that they make to Europe and the Netherlands, although in the past, when I'm talking about 20, 25 years ago, the Netherlands was really not on that list because Dutch companies weren't really all that interested in the Southeast. That has really changed. And we see states now making the Netherlands a regular stop on their recruitment trips to the Netherlands. In summary, I think there will be continued activity by Dutch companies in the United States. And I expect that there will be much more foreign direct investment from the Dutch side in the Southeast as the Southeast further develops and becomes a much more sophisticated market. Manori, that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Edward. That was a lot of information, very useful information. A lot of it mirrors what's going on in Georgia in terms of, where you are in South Carolina with generally very low unemployment, shortage of business spaces for rent and to buy. So I think we're sort of in the same boat, but excellent to hear what's going on really from somebody who's outside the Atlanta area, but still in the Southeast. Thank you for that. I have a couple of questions for Laurens. Laurens, I wondered also to touch on what Edward said about, the Southeast becoming a place that's more on the map now. Is there something you can share about any current delegations that are happening or any current missions, any particular projects that you're really able to share the details of?
Yeah, and I agree that the Southeast has definitely increased into attention. We are definitely more on the map in the Southeast as a country, our industries, and it's also vice versa. And it's one of the reasons why we've opened an office here in the Southeast. We have a long-standing relationship with the New York area, with the San Francisco area, with the Chicago area. But the Atlanta office is relatively new and really there because we see so much potential for further cooperation, as Edwin also highlighted. A few things that I've been working on, at least for the last months, because I've only been here a few months. The greenhouse technology is definitely something where we hope to facilitate some trade missions into at least North Carolina and Georgia, but perhaps also other areas. I'm open for your thoughts and ideas. The greenhouse technology moving forward on agriculture, ensuring that we have new innovative solutions to increase production of locally produced food in a more sustainable manner is definitely one of our key priorities. That also goes for poultry. We have a poultry trade delegation coming up in a week or two, where we hope to speak to the agricultural department and various stakeholders here to see if there's room for cooperation between our industries that are already here and also new industries from the Netherlands and new companies. The same goes for Fintech. That will remain very much a priority, especially in the Atlanta area. For those of you that are from Atlanta, it's a booming Fintech hub, which is increasing every day. We have a similar Fintech hub in Amsterdam, so we're also hoping to facilitate a trade mission. And Edwin also mentioned water. I also mentioned water. There, I really hope to bring some American trade delegations into the Netherlands to show them our line of thinking, our policy solutions, and also to liaise with them and our companies to see where we could help to find our solutions for American challenges on coastal protection, on river management, on incorporating water structures into your environment. And apart from that, we're hoping to organize other targeted events around other sectors. And I'm very open to your suggestions and thoughts to working with you, the Chamber, with Edwin, and everyone participating on all the priorities that we've shared.
Excellent, thank you. And it's obviously the point of these kinds of sessions is to make businesses aware of what you both do and what we do. And anybody who's on this call that wants to discuss how to promote the services they're doing, perhaps being involved in some kind of delegation, please do reach out, because we can try and connect you with the right people. It's very good to know that there are a lot of missions planned for the coming year, and hopefully those will be able to go ahead despite COVID. We did have one question from Derek Hendrickson, who's asked if you can just talk a bit about the circular economy a bit more.
Of what's going on, or specific areas that might be of interest.
Thank you, Dirk. That's a great question. As you already highlighted, and I hope you, it's a big topic. Sustainability, it's very much at the core front of our activities. For us, sustainability is also very much an economic topic. It's about ensuring that we have new economic development. We're a small country, one of the largest exporters into the US, and that's mainly because of our innovations by trying to stay ahead of the game. We have a new government. I think if you read the agreement that the ambassador mentioned, I think for our trade instruments, we'll definitely move further with emphasis on circular economy, on sustainability. And it really involves many sectors. It involves the greenhouses that I already mentioned. The greenhouses are part of having food, more food per productivity with less waste, with less water waste, for example. It involves prevention of adapting to climate change. For us, climate change is also very much an economic topic. We've been fighting the water for a few hundred years. We think that the prevention of water disasters is actually more beneficial to have long-term water management than having water problems first. It's also in life sciences and health to strengthen rural areas. One of the areas that we'll also try to focus a bit more on is wind energy. We already have quite a few wind projects in Baltimore, in New York, but there are also opportunities at least in North Carolina. Hydro storage at the harbor of Rotterdam is increasingly a topic. not just because we like hydro storage, but because it's part of the future of our supply chain, of our energy mix. I mean, we're very committed to working with the EU Commission on Fit for 50/50, which means reducing our CO2 emissions further. So also in the energy sector, apart from wind energy, we're also looking into nuclear energy. So it's a very broad topic. I'm not sure if I've answered your question completely. We can discuss it more in depth also with my colleague Martijn. But for us, sustainability is pretty much across topic that involves various sectors and various initiatives. And I'm very happy to discuss with you furthermore in depth if you have specific ideas on areas where we can work together, because that's something we've only opened our office a few years ago. So we're also, with some areas, including this one, still in the exploration phase of where we can work together with the various states that we cover, from South Carolina to Alabama and from Tennessee to Georgia.
Thank you, Laurens. I'll follow up. I have some ideas. Great. But yes, you've answered the question. Awesome.
Thank you for that good question, Dirk. Appreciate that. And thank you, Laurens, again, for all your insights on what's going to happen in the coming couple of years, in fact, not just 2022. I do know it's running up to 5:15, so I think that a lot of people will have to leave. I did want to mention that there is a economic outlook webinar that the Netherlands American Chamber of Commerce for the Southeast is holding tomorrow. It's free. It starts at 11 o'clock EST. And we have one of our very well-known contacts at Rabobank who will be talking to us about his views on what 2020 and beyond will bring. So please do feel free to sign up for that. We will make sure that there's a registration link at the end. I don't know that there are any other questions. I can't see any other questions right now. So on that note, I wanted to once again thank very much Deputy Consul General Laurens van Doeveren for making time to share his insights with us today, and Edward Claudius as well. We're grateful for the consulate and for the NABC having organized this together with various people who have made this possible. On that note, I think I just want to wish everybody a happy new year belatedly. Please stay safe and take care of yourselves. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Manori, and great to see everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.